Okay, this is an article titled Artificial Wombs, The Coming Era of Motherless Births. It's from David Warmflash, January 4th, the Genetic Literacy Project. And I have permission to use the picture and some descriptions from the article. I'll put the link to it. Go check out the whole thing. I'm only going to touch on a couple different parts of it. It starts off talking about exogenesis. That's a term that was coined in 1924 by J.B.S. Haldane. And he used exogenesis to describe an artificial environment from fertilization to birth. And it's also been used in the past about contraception, birth control, and eugenics. Question is, where are we on the road to exogenesis right now? It says, to begin, the progress has definitely been rapid over the last 20 to 30 years. And again, I'm not going to read the whole thing. You can pause it if you want to read this. And again, this isn't the whole article, so I suggest going to the link. But basically, the gist is anything less than 22 weeks and the baby that comes out will not survive. And the main reason for that is that in the womb, oxygenated, nourishing blood comes in, the blood-carrying waste goes out through the placenta and umbilical cord. Once delivered, a premature baby must breathe through its own lungs and cleanse the blood with its liver and kidneys and get its own nutrition through its gastrointestinal tract. And before 22 weeks, they think that's the absolute limit for survival of the fetus. That'll have to depend on lung breathing and its own organs. And then it goes on to talk about two ways that they can get around this problem by kind of creating an artificial womb that the baby would kind of attach itself to. And once that happens, there will be no obstacle against pushing the limit further toward full exogenesis, which wouldn't just be taking a premature baby and putting it in the womb, but growing a baby from fertilized eggs that could be planted directly into the womb without the need for a natural uterus. I was saying an artificial womb may sound futuristic, and the perception is that realizing the technology would go together with controlling the birth rate and eugenics, controlling which humans come to life, and thus which genetic traits get passed down to future populations. But today we could do these things without exogenesis. We have plenty of contraceptive methods that can sterilize people or make them fertile, while pregnancies can be induced with implanted embryos made with in vitro fertilization. If anyone is working on a eugenics program at present, they can use surrogate mothers and don't really require an artificial uterus, unless we imagine a society that routinely forcefully sterilizes all females so that whoever has the artificial uterus has a monopoly on reproduction. Exogenesis does not relate particularly to those 1920 issues, which again are discussed earlier in the article. It says, instead, the artificial uterus would simply move the pregnancy outside of the woman's body. When considering societal consequences, the main factor that we need to keep in mind, and doing so, we see that it does relate to many currently controversial issues. And the first is a woman's right to control her body. If a developing embryo or fetus is not viable, and the mother wants it out of her uterus, that's her right. But what happens once we have a technology to remove it from her without killing it, and let the pregnancy continue in an artificial womb? And while social conservatives might be receptive about what an artificial uterus might do to the abortion paradigm, make no mistake, they'd probably not be happy with the technology also stands to make it much easier for male gay couples to have babies. All they need is an egg donor, and no more need for a surrogate mother to take the embryo into her uterus and carry it for 40 weeks. That's easier for any gay couple in terms of practicability, waiting period, and money. The same thing goes for a transgender person wishing to have a child. Finally, because of the sheer numbers, an artificial uteruses could have major implications for heterosexual women with fully functioning uteri. Many who want children of their own might prefer to forego pregnancy, yet would hesitate to hire a human surrogate. On the other hand, the mindset could be quite different if the surrogate were a high-tech jar. It's your baby with no worries about a competing mother. Says he's not suggesting that all potential mothers would opt for this, but Haldane's guess might not be so unrealistic in that it might end up being a substantial fraction of the population. So we can see that there's a lot of implications for this. Some good, some bad. This, like I said, it seems futuristic, but this is going to happen. They're going to develop this one way or another. And I mean, tell me those pods don't look like the Matrix. I'm sorry, like that movie, ugh. So, I mean, I tried to present this without commentary. Just go read the article for yourself and see what you think. Thanks for watching.